Video game critics have been reduced to the status of promoters, and not just because of corporate overlords and brand deals, though yeah, those do exist, but because so much of the conversation these days revolves around promoting cynicism and negativity. We all kinda know by now that traditional reviews don't really capture what makes a game good or bad. Just skim through any game review article and it's pretty clear that trying to rate every game on a fixed scale is a losing battle. But even past that, a critic doesn't just mean someone writing for IGN or Kotaku anymore. It's anyone with a platform and an opinion. YouTubers, random threads that go viral, they might not be the traditional critic or even identify themselves as one, but they're out here shaping how we discuss art. And more importantly, they're influencing how we feel about it. Scores that seem to carry more weight for people come when we take a look at community rankings, something akin to Metacritic, or just diving into communities of specific franchises to ask what their players think. Those numbers are generally able to give us an opinion on what people who enjoy a specific type of experience think about a game in a more nuanced way. It's here where we're able to see the kinds of things fans of a genre or franchise like and dislike, what worked and what didn't, all under somewhat fair scrutiny. But there are issues with this approach too. How do games compare to each other? How do they compare to other games outside their respective genres? Is it even fair to compare something like Undertale, a game made by one man and game maker, to Red Dead Redemption 2, a game that had an entire team of people backing it with a AAA budget? Actually, it might be, but when we try to assign a number to it, we start to lose sight of the value these works of art provide on their own. Every game is birthed under different conditions, by different people at different times, and then is released to millions who play them under even more different circumstances, at different ages, immediately after release, or decades later. So how can we possibly find a way to effectively quantify an experience that's so unique to an individual? You can't, really, but that's a tough pill to swallow, so let's explore a little more. The internet is infamous for lacking nuance from time to time, as we all know, and part of that is due to the culture of anonymity and general bandwagoning, but another reason is because when you survey this niche group of people, you're gonna find a pretty homogenized opinion on a lot of things. The people who actually speak on the internet aren't the entire world, and frankly, it barely makes up any particular game's player base. The rhetoric right now is that Tears of the Kingdom, the most recent Zelda game, was a massive letdown, but that game sold 20 million copies. How many of those 20 million people actually decided to post their detailed opinion about it online? My sister, for one, told me that it was her favorite Zelda game, and she's been playing since Ocarina of Time released back in '98. But you didn't know that. And how could you? With the recent influx of videos bashing it, I half expect Link to make a public apology. But the truth is, when you play a game, or interact with any piece of art for that matter, every single experience you've had as a human being influences how you will react to it. I've already mentioned that different games will resonate with different people who've lived different lives. But why then is it so incredibly common to label these inspired pieces of imagination with arbitrary criticisms as if our opinions are the final say? Of course, I'm not stating that games can't have flaws or that you can't express your distaste with one under the guise of it's art. Games are a unique form of media. They have technical intricacies that can be identified and addressed. Game design can point us in the general direction of what's fun and what isn't. That much is true. They're also highly interactive, and because of that, it's difficult to truly judge them based on a single experience. We have to take into account the types of people that play games and how their worldview is affecting that. Something like, say, Mio works for most people who've played Xenoblade 3 is because at its core, her story is just deeply human. Mio's lived her whole life as a soldier, doing what she's told, thinking that fighting is all she's meant for, but then that idea gets flipped. She finds out that she actually has a choice in how to spend the last few months of her life, and from there, she starts doing what a lot of us would, fumbling through it.
It's 2 months. Might as well be nothing.
But you did agree to doing this.
Well, yeah, but I know I did, but...
Look, I know it was a snap decision. I understand why you're upset. Let's just take it easy tonight. Take a moment to breathe.
Why wouldn't I be upset? Take what easy? We rest today, and tomorrow, before I know it, it'll be time. And then I'll be...
I mean, I get that, but we...
You don't get it! Not at all!
We all, at some point, have to come to terms with the fact that life ends. that time is limited, and when a character actually reflects that messiness, that weight of choice, of freedom, of time running out, we feel seen. She's not written to be the perfect protagonist with neatly defined traits, and something about that is easy to relate to on the level of a human being. If we keep in mind that all games are trying to say something, then it makes sense that some of them are going to speak louder to certain people. Not every game is made for everyone, which is what makes them work, actually. Some experiences are crafted with a specific voice, with a specific audience in mind. Forspoken seemed to be received early on as quite an annoying and confused game, and it got a ton of bad press for that. But buried beneath all that bad press is a community of people that this game meant a lot to. It's a AAA title with a woman of color in the lead, which, let's be real, isn't something the industry has exactly made a habit of. Whether or not it presented itself well is entirely subjective, but its MO is very much felt by the audience it was intended for. Whether or not you enjoyed it is irrelevant to the people that it made an impact on. Life is Strange is a popular series that covers a lot of serious philosophical concepts that speak to a lot of people who have dealt with emotional abuse, mental illness, or questions about their sexual identity. But if any of those things don't really apply to you, you might just not get it. And that's okay, but it doesn't mean it didn't mean the world to someone else. And that's kind of the thing. Our background shapes what we connect with, but that connection, or failure to connect, doesn't automatically make something good or bad for everyone else. It's not a universal scale, it's a personal one. Take a look at my top 10 games. I'd like to say that I've rated these games solely based on how objectively good they are, but anyone who's played Pokemon Platinum knows that's a lie. While these games really hit the mark for me in terms of story, music, and gameplay, 2 of them I played in my early childhood, 3 of them made me cry, and all of them are here because of the genres I was exposed to and interested in as I grew up. I've played a lot of different types of games that I still love, but I like swinging a sword around. I enjoy strategy, difficulty, and customization. Of course, these games are going to be here. Are they objectively the best games of all time? I certainly feel that way, but that doesn't diminish the value of other people's favorites. And even comparing my own to each other, do I really think that this is objectively better than this? I don't know, but when I play this, I'm able to emulate a feeling I had in my childhood that I would otherwise never be able to experience again. And that nostalgia is valuable. That's a word that's used a lot when discussing games, either as an excuse to blindly praise something or to claimlessly bash it. Let's be honest though, most of our past and present game preferences formed when we were like 10. Our childhood and early teen years are our most informative. We're soaking in new ideas, new feelings, and new experiences every day because we ourselves are relatively new to the world. For so many people, this fondness they have with their childhood is associated playing co-op with their siblings or booting up something familiar after a tough day at school. That stuff sticks. I mean, turtles are my favorite animal because of my Torterra in Pokemon Platinum. I have a fascination with space, probably because I explored Rosalina's observatory. That kind of emotional wiring doesn't go away. But when we grow up and get into our late teens and early 20s, we start to see the cracks in things. Life gets a little more complex, and suddenly you're not just playing games, now you're analyzing them and looking for people who are doing the same. It's human nature to want to put a label on everything, so maybe a bit of that cynical criticism rubs off on you. You start breaking games down, really trying to figure out what makes them good, and weirdly, sometimes that makes you like them less. But you shouldn't let other people's experiences rewrite your own. Just because a game is rated poorly or even has massive issues doesn't mean it magically stops being meaningful. Value doesn't come from a score. It's not something we all have to agree on. It's personal, and it's yours. Today, it feels like games aren't allowed to just be anymore. If something has flaws, we're expected to break it apart and hold it under a microscope until we can't enjoy it anymore. And yeah, analysis has its place. There's nothing wrong with wanting better for the medium. But somewhere along the way, it feels like we've started treating enjoyment like it needs to be earned. That only bad parts of games are worth talking about. Games don't exist in a vacuum. They come from years of ideas and struggles and straight up failures that somehow form into this wonderful thing we get to experience. They're weird and messy, and they're human. On the internet though, it's easy to fall into this never-ending loop of cynicism in our critiques. A game drops, a few months go by, and then we have a conversation about how it all fell short. It feels like a lot of online criticism today is built on finding what's wrong first. The tone across YouTube, especially in the commentary or review spaces, is often one of negativity. Over time, that exposure can muddy how we talk about games, and people start echoing these takes without ever trusting their own opinions. It makes it harder to just enjoy something quietly, or love a game openly without bracing for backlash. That's what I want to shift our lens away from. We should be able to stop looking over our shoulders when we talk about the things we love. Technical performance and objective game design can be graded all day, but the truth is, none of that matters when you resonate with a game. Instead, focus on what you felt as you played it. Even if it's messy, even if it's deeply flawed, that doesn't make your experience less valid. It's actually what gives it value. Embrace the subjective and lean into it. Talk about what stuck with you, even when no one else noticed, or even if you're the only person on the planet that appreciates it. We don't need more people telling us why something was disappointing. In the world we live in these days, what we need are voices reminding us why we fell in love with games in the first place. Games don't have to change the world to change yours. It's not about what it meant to everyone else. It's about what it gave you, what it taught you, and the way it left a mark on your life. That kind of meaning is personal, and no one else needs to understand it for it to be real.